Okay, if you take a look at here, we have something that is called engagement norms. And why do we use engagement norms? Is to help you learn the information. So many times I'm going to find a word that you might not be able to read. So I'm going to read it for you, but I'm going to ask you to read it. It's very important that you read some of the words, because if you do not read them, you'll never learn how to read them. So it's important that you read with me when I ask you to read. And I'm also going to be using maybe a little gesture, that means a hand movement. Show me your hands, please. So if I ask you to make the letter T, you go like this. Can you show me the letter T, please? And the reason gestures help you a lot is because they help you put information into multiple pathways in the brain. So when you're trying to remember something, you're going to go like this. That means that your brain is trying to help you to remember. So it's important that we do gestures. The next thing that I'm going to do, we're going to pair share. Can we read that? Pair share. Can we read it? Pair share. That means that I'm going to ask you to talk to a partner. But I'm going to have two partners. I'm going to have partner A and partner B. So you're going to be A, and then you're going to be B. You're going to be A, B. You're going to be A, B. Hold on for 1 second. You're going to be A, B. Okay, so I have two of you. Do you mind just a little bit coming up here and sitting here? Just for a little bit, for the next 30 minutes. Thank you. Oh, it's the other way around, isn't it? Thank you. Okay, if you're partner A, please raise your hand. Partner A. Partner B. Okay, so right now what I want you to do, I want you to turn to your partner and tell your partner what is your favorite book and why that is. And A, go first. So go ahead and do that, please. You go ahead and switch. When I ask you to switch, that means that I want the other partner to talk. Switch, please. Oh, I think. And then I'm going to say 1, 2, and you're going to say eyes on you. 1, 2.
Eyes on you.
That means that I want you to stop talking, and it's my turn to talk. 1, 2.
Eyes on you.
Very nice. The next thing that I'm going to ask you to do is to use whiteboards. And these are your whiteboards. And inside the whiteboards, you have a marker, so take that out, please. And then you have a very high-tech eraser, which is this one here. High-tech. So what I need you don't have one? Okay. So what I need you to do is I want you to put the first letter of your name nice and big so I can see it. So go ahead and write on the plastic, please. And then show me your whiteboards until I give you my signal. Not yet. Show whiteboards, please. And when you show me your whiteboards, I want you to put them right here. And if I walk around, I need you to follow me with your whiteboard so I can see it. And once in a while, I'm going to ask you to show the whiteboards to your teachers in the back. So can you please show your whiteboards to your teachers in the back there? They need to know what I'm seeing. Very nice. So go ahead and erase your whiteboard, please. And all you need to do is to erase them like this. The next thing I need you to do is we're going to talk or we're going to speak today in complete sentences. That means that I might tell you, will you please say it is a figure of speech because. It's very important that you use the academic language and the content language because you're trying to learn it. So it's important for you to rehearse it a little bit. So what I want you to do right now, I want you to turn to your partner and tell your partner, why do we use the engagement norms? Why is it important to you that your teachers use engagement norms? Go ahead and talk to your partner, please, and A, go first. Go ahead and do that, please.
I think it's important.
Go ahead and switch, please. You don't have an eraser? Here's your eraser. You're welcome. Okay. The next thing I need to know is I'm going to be checking for understanding quite a bit, meaning that I'm going to ask you to lift your whiteboards. I'm going to be asking lots of questions. So in order for me to do that, I'm going to have to call numbers. Ideally, I would call names, but we don't have time to put down all your names in here. So the next good way of doing this is I can give you a number. And once you get your number, can you please write it on the corner and make it nice and small? So you're going to be number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
8,
18. Okay, at the count of 3, let's all say your number, please. 1, 2, 3.
5,
1, 2, 3.
4.
And my question to you was, I like all this synchronicity here. That's very nice. So let's take a look at here. So my question was, why do we use the engagement norms? Why do we use them? And the number is number 7. And I want you to say we use the engagement norms because it helps you learn the information better. That's very nice. Number 17. Why do we use the engagement norms?
so we can understand.
Can we say we use the engagement norms because?
What?
We use the engagement norms. Remember how I want you to use complete sentences?
We use the engagement norms so we can understand what we're talking about.
Yes, that's the reason. It's because we're doing it for you so you can learn this information. Okay, I also need you to have a lesson that looks like this. Do you all have a lesson that looks like this?
Yes.
And take out a pencil or a pen and make sure you do that right now.
I have some pencils. If anyone needs something.
Prepare.
That's And show me your pencil, please. And when we come to this class, you're going to have to bring your pencil because I'm always going to ask you, where is your pencil? Show me your pencil, please. I am still waiting for 2 of you to come up with a pencil, please. So put down your pencils and I'm going to ask you one more time. Very nice. Show me your pencil, please. Very nice. I see that all you found one pencil. Okay, now let's start the lesson, which is on page number 1. You all have your lesson right in front of you. And there's one word here that I want you to look at it. We read it interpret. Can you read that, please? Interpret. And interpret means to explain. So when your teacher is trying to interpret a new lesson for you, your teacher is trying to explain the lesson. So when I say interpret, you say explain. And when I say explain, you say interpret. Interpret. Explain.
Interpret.
So what I want you to do now is I want you to turn to your partner and tell your partner what is the meaning of interpret, or maybe you can come up with a sentence. So go ahead and do that, and B, go first. What is the meaning of interpret?
To explain.
Now switch, please. One, two.
Eyes on you.
Okay, and the lucky person, number 9, what is the meaning of interpret?
Interpret is to explain.
Is to explain. Number 2, what is the meaning of interpret?
Means to explain.
Can you say interpret means?
Interpret means to explain.
Very good. Now, do I have a volunteer who can tell me a sentence with interpret? A sentence with interpret? No, that's okay. We're going to continue to look at this word, and one day you're going to be able to even give me a sentence. So this is what we're going to do today. We will interpret figures of speech. Can we read that, please? We will interpret figures of speech. And what I want you to do is I want you to underline figures of speech here. And I want you to turn to your partner and read to your partner. Not tell to your partner, but read to your partner what we're going to do today, please. And B, go first. What are we going to do today? Now switch. Number 3, what are we going to do today? We will interpret figures of speech. And then number 7, what are we going to do?
You will interpret figures of speech.
But before we do that, let's take a look at all the things you already know that are going to help you in this lesson. So can we read this, please? Let's read it together. Often we use words that have more than one meaning. Write on your whiteboards which 2 meanings are suggested by these sentences. And I have here a sentence. So what's the first sentence? I'm glad I know sign language. It's very handy. So I have 3 choices. I want you to select 2 choices. Which one is the meaning that you think it is? Let's read this. People use their hands a lot for sign language. When something is useful, we say it is handy. I have 5 fingers in my hands. So which are the 2 meanings, or the suggested meanings, or the meanings that you think they are? Is it A or B? Go ahead and talk to your partner. Write A or B or C on your whiteboard. And B, go first. So go ahead and do that. It's right on your paper? Oh, no, this is not on your paper, is it? No, that's fine.
And we have pretty instead of very.
Oh, okay. Oh. Do you have another one? Okay, let's see if you can show me your whiteboards. Yeah, you're always writing for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I see that we're still waiting for some of you. Put them down. Show whiteboards. Show the answer to your teachers, please, in the back. Put them down. I see that most of you selected one sentence. Actually, I wanted 2 sentences, but that's okay. Tell me why you selected B. Can you say B has the meaning because? Why did you select B? The meaning for very handy because? Can you say B has the meaning for very handy because?
B has the meaning for very handy because
you want me to come back to you? Let me come back to you in a minute. What do you have on your whiteboard, and why is that? How about you? What do you have on your whiteboard? There's not wrong or wrong answer here. I mean, there is one sentence that is absolutely not, but none of you had that one. What do you have?
I chose B because usually when I see the phrase very handy, they're meaning like it's very useful. Like I'm glad that I have that tool around.
Yeah, and that's a way of us of saying that exactly doesn't mean that, it means something else. And you're going to see that today. Whenever you see something like this, very handy, but it means something like when something is useful, we're saying it's very handy, we're not talking about your hands. And we call that figures of speech. How do we call them? Figures of speech. So go ahead and erase your whiteboard, please, and turn to page number 2. Okay, let's take a look at what is a figure of speech. And let's take a look at this word here, non-literal meaning. Let's read it, please. Non-literal meaning. Non-literal, it means that it doesn't really mean what it says. We have to kind of think, what is it actually being said? When somebody says to you, it is raining cats and dogs, and if you go outside, it is really not raining cats and dogs. You know what is raining? It is raining very hard. So raining cats and dogs is really what we say. It has a non-literal meaning. It doesn't really mean what it says. It means something else, isn't it? That's what figures of speech are. So that's what we're going to be doing today. But today, we're going to be looking at one that is called euphemism. But before we do that, I want you to take a look at how we say this one, because this one is very difficult to read. And I'm going to start from the back here, and I'm going to ask you to say mism, please. Let's say it. Mism. And then if I take a look at P-H-E, we're not going to say F today, we're going to say fa. So when we say famism, can we read it, please? Famism. And then I want you to point to you like this. Let's point to you. So when we put it all together, we say euphemism. Can you read it, please? Euphemism. Can you read it one more time? Euphemism. So let's take a look at what a euphemism is. Let's read it together, please. A euphemism is a mild or vague expression used in place of an expression that is offensive or harsh. It is often used to soften, be polite, or hide. I don't hear all of you reading. I cannot tell you how important it is for you to read. Because when you go home and you're trying to read your books, you will be able to read some of these words. Can we try it one more time? And see if we can capture that. Can we read it, please? Let's read it together. A euphemism is a mild or vague expression used in place of an expression that is offensive or harsh. It is used to soften, be polite, or hide. Okay, so I wonder what that means. We have some examples here. You have euphemisms, and then we have an example here. An example is pass away. And actually, this is a way to soften death. We all do not like to talk about death. So instead of saying somebody died, what we say is somebody passed away. So what we're doing is we're trying to soften somebody who died. Let's take a look at the next one, please. Let's read that. Senior citizen. And what is the purpose of using senior citizen? Let's read it. To be polite about an older person. So a lot of times you're going to say, oh my gosh, she's a senior citizen, because you're not going to want to say, she's so old. So what you're trying to do is very polite, isn't it? So what do we use to be polite? Let's all read it. We use a euphemism. And now let's take a look at this one. Let's read this one. military air support. You know what? We are really hiding the true meaning. What is the true meaning? To hide the idea of bomb. That's what it means. So you have to be very alert when we're reading something, what is actually being said, because all of this are no literal meaning. We're just trying to do something with language to create another word that is going to soften, be polite, or hide certain ideas. So I have a question for you. On your page, you have checking for understanding questions on number 2, and I want you to do to the bottom. And I want us to read the first one. This starts with which sentence? Can we read it, please? Which sentence has an example of a euphemism, and how do you know? Is it A? Let's read. The poor children needed more help. Let's read B. The underprivileged children needed more help. Go ahead and talk to your partner and tell your partner, which one is it? Is it A or is it B? And tell each other why that is. And A, go first. Go ahead and talk to your partner, please. And then go ahead and switch, please. Put the answer on your whiteboard, please, and I want to see it. 1, 2, 3. Show me whiteboards, please. Show the answers to your teachers, please. Show the answers back to me, please. Now put it down. Now you're going to tell me what you have on your whiteboard, and when you answer, I want you to say B has an euphemism because. What do you have, honey, on your whiteboard? You're correct. It's B. B is the correct answer.
B has an example of a euphemism because underprivileged is a nicer way to say poor.
Yeah, and that's what we're talking about today. We're talking about non-literal language. That's what it means. How about you, honey? What do you have on your whiteboard, and why is that? I know it's hard to say. You know what? We're going to say it one more time. Can we read it one more time? Euphemism. Can we read it, please? Euphemism. Let's read it one more time. Euphemism. Can you say it, honey?
I think B because it
B is a euphemism because? Can you say that? That's okay.
Because they have, like, it doesn't say part, but that's really
It doesn't say what?
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm going to ask you, which one is a nicer way? Do you say poor or do we say underprivileged? What will be a nicer, more polite way of saying it? The same thing. Oh, okay, that's okay. You know what? We're going to read it all together. Let's read underprivileged. Let's read it one more time. Underprivileged. Can you say it? Oh my gosh, give me a high five. Very nice. Okay. But that's not the only one that we're learning today. We're learning 2 of them. How many? 2 of them. And let's take a look at this one. This one is a oxymoron. Can you read it, please? Oxymoron. And let's take a look at what oxymoron is. And let's read this, please. An oxymoron is a phrase. I need to hear all you reading. You see, we are learning to read some of these words that are very, very difficult. So why don't we try it one more time? Let's take a look at it. Let's read that. An oxymoron is a phrase that includes words that contradict each other. It is used to emphasize something. Let's take a look at this contradict, and I have it right there. Contradict means to be the opposite. So let's go like this. So contradict is actually the opposite. Let's go like this. Contradict means the opposite. It's exactly the opposite. So contradict is the opposite. That's what it means. So we have two words. It says that it's a phrase. And when we have a phrase, we're talking about two or more words. It's not a sentence. But if I take a look at oxymorons here, let's take a look at what this says. So let's read it, please. The only choice. So let's take a look at only means one, isn't it? Only. And choice means many options. So we have one, and then we have many options. So we have a phrase, we have two words that contradict each other. Let's go. We have that contradict, they're the opposite. And why are we doing that? Let's take a look at this one. To emphasize there is no choice. So when your mother tells you the only choice that you have is that you will clean your bedroom before you go out, how many choices do you have?
One.
One choice. There is no other choice, isn't it? That's what an oxymoron is. So let's take a look at the next one, and let's read this one, please. Disgustingly delicious. Let's all read it, please. Let's read it. Disgustingly delicious. Oh my gosh. Something that is disgusting is something that is not very good, isn't it? Show me disgusting with your face. Isn't it? But take a look at the second word here. Take a look at the second word. Let's read this one. Delicious. That is something that is absolutely tasteful. Yummy. So we have oxymoron. Because oxymoron, we have the two words that are contradicting each other. So let's take a look at this one. And why do we do it? Let's read it. To emphasize how really delicious it is. And that's what happens when we use oxymorons. We're trying to use contradiction to emphasize that something is really better. So I have a question for you, and I have a checking for understanding question. So let's all read the checking for understanding question, please. And let's read the one that says, which sentence? Can you read that with me, please? Which sentence has an example of an oxymoron? How do you know? Let's read sentence one. The documents were in random order. The documents were in alphabetical order. My very, very gentle people, I need you to read. I'm not doing this because of me. I'm doing it because we all need to read these new words. Can we try it one more time? Otherwise, I'm going to have to ask the guys say it, the girls say it, and we don't want to do that. Let's read it together. A, let's read that, please. The documents were in random order. The documents were in alphabetical order. So which of those sentences has an oxymoron? Go ahead and talk to your partner and tell your partner which one it is, but tell them why that is. And A, go first. I know, I have 5 minutes. Huh? Yep. Put it on your whiteboard, please. Can I see it, please? Can I see it on the whiteboards? Show me whiteboards, please. Show the answers to your teachers, please, in the back. Show them back to me, please. Okay, now remember what I said in this class. If you have another answer, that's okay. You can change it as long as you can explain it to me as to why that is. So do not erase your whiteboards unless you need to erase for a reason. And what do you have on your whiteboard, and why is that? Can you say A has the oxymoron because?
A has the oxymoron because random is something that's everywhere and not ordered. And alphabetical order is like A, B, C,
and that's so there we have two words. What happens with the two words? They
are the opposite.
The opposite. So you see how it helps you to go like this? That's the reason we do it. I see that on your whiteboard you have an A. Why do you have an A on your whiteboard? Can you say A has the oxymoron because?
A has the oxymoron because the word random is more emphasizing. It's more emphasizing. The word random is more emphasizing.
Okay, so what is the meaning of random?
Out of order.
And what is the meaning of order?
In a certain way.
In place.
In order. So we have two words, and what's happening with those two words? They? They're the opposites. They contradict each other. I see that you had a B, but then you change your answer, and that's okay. That's okay. If you change your answer, more power to you, isn't it? Can you help me understand why you changed your answer? Oh, you had the A? Okay, can you tell me why you had the A, please? It's an oxymoron because?
Random contradicts itself.
Is it itself or another word?
Another word.
Which one is the one that is contradicting?
Order.
Okay, so what's the meaning of random?
And like scattered around.
So random, does random mean not in order or in order?
Not in order.
Okay, so we have random and then we have order. And then I see that you have a B. Would you like to change your answer or would you like to defend B? Why?
I'm going to defend B. I chose B as the oxymoron because I thought that random was a type of order, and you were saying how sometimes oxymorons can be specific, and alphabetical order is a specific type of order.
Okay, so but alphabet, is that something that is contradicting? Is alphabetical contradicting order? Tell me an alphabetical order. A and then? B and then? C and then?
D.
Is that in order?
Yeah.
So is alphabetical contradicting order?
No.
Is random contradicting order? So which one is the oxymoron? And why is that?
Because it's contradicting order.
Okay, and what is contradicting order?
Because
Which word is contradicting order?
random.
Very good. Give me a high five. Very nice. Okay, so what I want you to do is I want you to erase your whiteboards, please. And I want to do the last little question. And if you go to page number 5, please. Is it time already? I want to do a closure so they can see how a closure is done. I want you to take a look at the closure of this lesson. And on the very bottom of page number 5, I have a question for you. Let's read that together. What did you learn today about interpreting figures of speech such as euphemisms and oxymorons? I want you to write just a couple of sentences for today. What did you learn today? This is what your teachers were telling me that they're doing like an exit ticket, and that's what I'm trying to teach. So go ahead and just write something by yourself, please. What did you learn today? And I want you to use some of the words here because that's going to help you remember some of the information. This is your turn to shine. You've been shining all along. You're doing very well. Oh, no. Can you write something, please? Okay, show your paper, please. Put it up your paper like this so I can see it. Yeah. This is not your dissertation. That means that this is not how you're going to That's okay. And I'm not going to check because of time factors, but that's the way. Well, thank you very much. So what I want to do is I want you to erase the whiteboard, put the marker inside the whiteboard, and put the high-tech eraser inside the whiteboard like this. And I want you to place the whiteboard just like this. I want you to put it on your desk.